My name's Jim Gout. I'm an associate professor in environmental science and engineering here at UW-Tacoma. When I was 19, I was in undergrad. I was at Brown University out in Rhode Island. I was a civil engineer. When I was growing up, my dad is a mechanical and electrical engineer, and I always looked up to my dad. He does all kinds of different things, and he kind of put himself through college working while he went to school, and so I always liked that, and I liked the idea of tinkering with things. And when I was your age, I didn't know really what I wanted to do, and so engineering sounded like an interesting thing. Civil engineering, just sort of what I kind of went into. There was an emphasis you could do in environmental problems and planning, so I did civil engineering with an emphasis in environmental problems and planning. When I was working on my degree, and I realized that even though after I got my degree I didn't really know what I was going to do, because I didn't want to build things, and so to some extent I decided to go into the Peace Corps because I was trying to give myself some time to do something different and figure out what I actually wanted to do. I applied for the Peace Corps, and it turns out if you have an engineering degree of any sort that they like that. I remember that when I applied, you could pick 3 different places that you would like, there's like 1, 2, and 3 that you would like to go. Yeah. So I got Kenya. Okay. So somewhere while I was in the Peace Corps, actually working on seeing environmental things going on, environmental issues, seeing how water played a key role, that was my eureka moment. That was when I kind of figured out, I want to actually work on things that have to do with water and water pollution and environmental issues, that kind of stuff. So the way the Peace Corps works, at least at that time, I think it's similar. So you apply, you get assigned a country, and you show up for something pre-training. So you basically show up usually in the U.S. for 5 days of training, and they're kind of like a crash course, a little bit in the language of where you're going, so Swahili in my case, a little bit of kind of cultural things, so you don't do something really stupid as soon as you show up. And part of it's a little bit of history, part of it's a little bit of just kind of how to survive in the Peace Corps. And then they send you to Kenya. And then you do training in country for 2 to 3 months. While you're doing that training, you live with a host family elsewhere. It kind of spoils you for going any other place, because you really learn so much about a place by living with a family. So when I was in training, I would get up early in the morning, kind of wash up. So that was part of the experience too, was, water is not, we kind of think of it as an easy to item. So in Kenya, you got, my family had some money, but still they lived in a place that didn't have a lot of water. And so I would get a basin of water, and I could learn how to shower, shave, and brush my teeth and everything with that amount of water, and then go and I'd have breakfast with the folks. So it's kind of a different dynamic. So the father would sort of they'd bring him breakfast, and he would go sit elsewhere and have his breakfast, and the mother and the kids would have their breakfast around the cook fire in the kitchen. And so I would sit with them and kind of talk with them, and they would mostly laugh at me trying to learn my Swahili. So in training, you would go get up, I'd either get a ride in. It was the guy who was the dad who was the butcher. He had a little truck. I would sit in the bed in the back because I was also too big to fit inside this tiny little truck. Or occasionally I would hitchhike in with somebody, and then I would do training all day, and then I would do the same thing, hitchhike back home or get a ride home, and then have dinner with the family and kind of read in my room and go on. So then eventually you get station. That's kind of tough because you've gotten used to all these people that you're working with, and then suddenly you're scattered over this big country everywhere. So I was stationed down near the coast in a town called Kwale, and south of Mombasa, up in what they call the Shimba Hills. So you could look off the Shimba Hills, see the Indian Ocean down below. And then behind the hills it was actually a region of Kenya that's called the hinterlands. It's a rain shadow, so all the water that comes from the Indian Ocean actually kind of gets squeezed out by the hills, and then behind it there's no rain. So I was working on water projects in that really dry area back there. It was different because I was by myself, so I'd get up, have to cook myself breakfast, go figure out what I was doing for work that day, do that stuff, and come. That's the thing about the Peace Corps, is it can be very isolating because you're by yourself. Foundation came, part of it, I don't know if the Peace Corps it helped bring it out. I don't think it was the only thing, but one of my foundations is helping others. I think I got that from my parents in a lot of ways. They were always involved in something where they were volunteering. I always liked teaching others. I always liked helping others. And so the Peace Corps was great in that aspect of feeling like you could go and work on something that would be meaningful. And working with others in any way, just like meeting people and teaching them about where I'm from, or working with other volunteers to help them solve a problem. Like, all of that stuff was meaningful to me, and it did teach me that I like to do that sort of thing, and I like to accomplish something. That's one of the things that I think was frustrating, is I learned just how much I'm not a person who can sit around and do busy work. I want it to go somewhere. I want it to actually mean something. I want my students to do great things. I want them to do better. So I feel like, that those foundations are that I like to help others so that they then can do awesome things as well. So my job here at the university is definitely, to me, is very fulfilling, because I know all my students, right? I find out what they do after they graduate. I even work with them, so I've been here long enough that they're out in different agencies or workplaces, and so I then work with them on projects. So that's awesome to see, is my students are now professionals doing different cool stuff and making a difference. And so that's really fulfilling to me. But I like to improve things here on campus. So I like to see, like, building this giving part, working on sustainability projects. I don't want to sit there and do busy work. I want it to actually make the place better. So I do stuff outside too. I volunteer my time to teach other people how to rock climb camp or climb in the mountains. So people learning those skills is also fulfilling, because they're getting something out of it and giving back. Work with schools to have them involved in projects, to involve them in research so that they get something out of it. Well, from my own experience, the way I look at it is that you want to just do the next thing that sounds interesting, right? I see too many students get wrapped up in, oh my God, I'm going to graduate and I don't know what I want to do with my life. I didn't know either after I graduated, and part of it is that you learn what you are as you go along, and until you try different things, you won't know if that's the thing you like. And it's definitely not necessary for you to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life as soon as you've somehow magically finished college. So to me, it's about picking something that you think would be interesting and trying that next, and getting as much as you can out of that thing, and then decide, do I want to keep doing this, or do I feel like I learned everything I could from this thing and now I want to go do something else? I feel like people have this idea that there's just going to be this one thing you do after college, and that'll be what you do for the rest of your life. I think that's the way it works. Sometimes you get lucky and you got it right from the get-go, or sometimes I think, unfortunately, people will just get stuck in a rut and stay with whatever they started with. But it's really about getting the most out of whatever it is you do next, and then actively look for the next that work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.